today's date, the 20th of August 2015, approximately 1:22, officers from Bellingham Police Department responded to 1015 Otis Street, apartment number 112, on the report of a female with a gunshot wound to her head. The officers discovered Debbie Christie, and she had been shot in the head and was confirmed deceased by medics at the scene. She was a 49-year-old female. She was found on the deck of her apartment, which faces the parking lot of the apartment complex. She had a wound to her head by her left eye. A neighbor was contacted by the police, Jacob Ballard. He heard the gunshot, and after the gunshot, he looked out his sliding glass door and saw Raymond Gilbert III, the defendant that's before this court. He was familiar with him, and he asked Mr. Gilbert if he heard the shot. Mr. Gilbert replied, stating, quote, "I just shot his grandma," end quote. Mr. Gilbert said that he had to go and left the scene shortly after this. Just prior to the shooting, officers discovered that Debbie Christie's 11-year-old son, Nikolai, had gone outside where his mother was on the deck, and there was a meal standing in front of the deck. There was just some rocks out in front of the deck. And Nikolai was introduced by his mother, by Debbie Christie, to this man, and she told her son that the man's name was Raymond. Her son, Nikolai, went back into the house, and about 30 seconds later heard a pop sound. He went back outside, found his mother down, and she was bleeding from the eye and was dying from his injury, and the male, who was identified as Raymond, was no longer there.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
And also, the investigation has shown that a good friend of the defendants is Barry Williamson. Mr. Williamson was acquainted with the victim, Deborah Christie, and at one point made a threat to Deborah Christie, which resulted in his being arrested, and an anti-harassment order was entered by the court. This was on December 19th, 2014, which restricted Mr. Williamson from being within 1,000 feet of Ms. Christie. And there was a violation of this order on 4/18 of this year, of 2015.
Hang on. I think you just said Mr. Williamson?
That's right.
Okay.
And Mr. Williamson is a very close friend of this defendant.
All right.
And so there was a violation of this report, of this order, on the 18th of April. And this was reported. Mr. Williamson was arrested on this, and apparently created a lot of anger on his part that apparently was well known by this defendant. Both the defendant and Mr. Williamson were arrested on the 15th of this month for drinking and smoking in McDonald's on Sandwich. They were both placed in jail. After the shooting that occurred here, Mr. Williamson reported that he received a text, and this was at 2:14 in the morning, from Mr. Gilbert. Mr. Gilbert indicated on the text, "You will never have to worry about the bitch again, I promise." And the officers believe that this is related specifically to the victim, Debbie Christie, and there was a relationship, and Mr. Gilbert was very familiar with the fact that Mr. Williamson, his friend, was having a difficult time with Ms.
What's
Christie.
the date of the text, Mr.?
The date of the text was today. That's this morning.
All right. Thank you.
So it was at 2:14. And all of these acts occurred in Washington County.
All right. Thank you very much.